بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول النبي الكريم. Um, Last week, although I was here, I there are very few people who were here, so I didn't want to do the class, and a few people miss. This is a very important topic regarding Hajj, so I wanted to make sure that everybody who's interested is participating and involved, inshallah. So, and today also, unfortunately, there was some misunderstandings about the times of Isha, so it's okay. Alhamdulillah, those who are interested and those who are here, alhamdulillah, they're here. So those who want to watch the recording, they can watch the recording as well, inshallah. So we were discussing regarding Hajj, and previously we discussed some of the prerequisites of Hajj, and we discussed, especially in Ihram, what you can and what you cannot do. And now today we'll get into how to perform the Hajj. So he says, فَإِذَا دَخَلَ مَكَّةَ ابْتَدَأَ بِالْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. So once you enter Mecca, you should ideally start with the masjid, right? Now, yes, of course, as I always mention, right? I say this all the time, that fiqh is black and white. Fiqh will tell you this is what you must do, this is what you must not do, right? Fiqh doesn't take into consideration of your emotions, your exhaustion, your travel, your journey, all of these things, right? So the idea is, if you get to Mecca and you're exhausted, you traveled for 2 days, for example, now you're in Mecca, you just got there. If you're tired, you didn't eat anything, don't go directly for Umrah or Hajj, right? Go have some food, take a, if you can relax, go relax for a little bit, and then go for Umrah or Hajj. Okay? So he's going to go into like the method of tawaf and all of those things. So some of this is overlapping with Umrah, so inshallah I'll just mention both. But essentially, we're talking about Hajj primarily, right? You go to the masjid, فَإِذَا عَايَنَ الْبَيْتِ كَبَّرَ وَهَلَّلَ. So once you see the Baytullah, then you should do takbir 3 times, and you should do tahleel, meaning saying La ilaha illallah 3 times. Right? It's also mentioned that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would say Allahu Akbar 3 times, and then he would say La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahu al-mulku wa lahu al-hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. And then then he would continue on with everything else, right? So it's not necessary to do this, but it's sunnah. It's something good to do, right? As you'll realize that most du'as are not really necessary, right? Most du'as are sunnah, are recommended. It's good to do, but it's not necessary. Okay? So ثم ابتدأ بالحجر الأسود. You'll start from the Hajar al-Aswad. فاستقبله. You'll face the Hajar al-Aswad. وكبر وهلل. You'll do your takbir. You'll say your tahleel, meaning saying La ilaha illallah. Then you'll raise your hands with the takbir, and then you'll do istilam. Istilam is either kissing the Hajar al-Aswad, or it's just essentially saluting the Hajar al-Aswad and then kissing your palm, right? Now, when you kiss the palm, you don't need to make any sounds. You don't need to do it with both hands. You can just do it with one hand as well. That's also fine. And essentially, it's sunnah. It's sunnah to do, right? Sunnah to do istilam. وَقَبَّلَهُ إِنِ اسْتَطَاعَ مِنْ غَيْرِ أَنْ يُؤْذِيَ مُسْلِمًا. And he should kiss the Hajar al-Aswad if he's able to, without harming any Muslim. Without harming a Muslim. Now, this is, in our day and age, it's nearly impossible. Nearly impossible, I would say, to kiss the Hajar al-Aswad without doing something haram. Either you will touch other women, either your awrah will be exposed, or you will hit somebody, you will push somebody, you'll shove somebody, and so on and so forth, right? So in my opinion, I'll tell you, I've gone for Umrah, alhamdulillah, multiple times, and Hajj, alhamdulillah. Not once have I tried to kiss the Hajar al-Aswad. I have not tried. It's because I know if I try, then I'll have to push somebody, I'll have to shove somebody, I may have to do some haram to reach and kiss the Hajar al-Aswad. Now, kissing the Hajar al-Aswad is sunnah, it's something good. But if you're doing something haram to do something sunnah, it's not worth it. Instead, yes, if you can do it, you can touch the Kaaba. Alhamdulillah, I've touched the Kaaba, alhamdulillah, multiple times. You're able to touch the Kaaba without pushing and shoving. All of us, when we go for Hajj or Umrah, make the intention that inshallah I will not hurt anybody, I will not push anybody, I will not shove anybody. Make this intention. Everybody, whenever you go, make this intention. Whenever you're doing tawaf, make intention not to hurt anybody.
Is that a virtue, touching the Kaaba?
Yes, according to Our scholars, yes. And meaning also meaning it's based on a hadith, right? Um, it's recommended to touch the Kaaba, to kiss the Hajar al-Aswad, and so on and so forth, right?
In this one, the wudu must have required, right? The wudu must to have to have.
Yeah. So for tawaf, you must have wudu.
Must have wudu.
For tawaf, you must have wudu.
But when you touch Kaaba has Torah, so when you are around, you should not touch anything like.
Yeah.
So is this?
Yeah. So
you should do it after or.
Yeah. Well, I said it before also. I spoke about this before that the Kaaba is heavily perfumed.
Perfume.
The Hajar al-Aswad is even more perfumed. So if you touch the Hajar al-Aswad or the Kaaba, if any scent transfers to your hand, then you must give sadaqah. Sadaqah is not that much, but you must pay penalty. Now, if you ask me, why do they put perfume on the Kaaba or the Hajar al-Aswad when they know and they only allow people in the state of Ihram to enter into the Mataf area? Why do they put perfume on the Kaaba and on the Hajar al-Aswad? I don't know. Don't ask me. Ask the Saudi government. Right? Why they do that, I don't know. But the fiqh is black and white. Fiqh is there that if you touch any perfume, whether it's on whether it's on the Kaaba or it's on your mother or whether it's on your wife, you have to pay the penalty. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So, moving on. ثم أخذ عن يمينه ما يلي الباب, and then he should start, going and starting the tawaf. وقد اضطجع رداءه قبل ذلك, and it's recommended, it's sunnah to do ittija. Ittija is exposing your right arm, right? Essentially putting the ihram, the top layer ihram, you're putting it under your right arm, you're exposing your right arm, and you're putting it over your left shoulder. Okay, this is sunnah. Okay, فيطوف بالبيت, then you'll do tawaf of the Baytullah, سبعة أشواط, 7 rounds. ويجعل طوافه من وراء الحتيم, and the tawaf should be outside of the hatim. So the hatim is the extra portion of the Kaaba, right? The oval portion of the Kaaba. You should go around that. You should go around the Kaaba. Okay. He mentions one thing, or there's one thing that's nice that's mentioned here. It says that the Baytullah was built, or you can say built. You can say it was built 5 times. 5 times the Baytullah was built. Number 1 is the angels, they built the Baytullah, right? So that's the first time that the Kaaba was built, was the angels. Then Ibrahim alayhi salam, he rebuilt, again, technically rebuilt the Kaaba, which the angels built. Third time was when Quraysh, they built the Kaaba in Jahiliyyah, right? And then if you remember the incident, that they were disputing who should put the Hajar al-Aswad, and then long story short, the Prophet ﷺ, he was the one that was selected. They said that whoever comes in, then they will, he is the one that will be able to take the Hajar al-Aswad. And what the Prophet ﷺ he did is he took he took a shawl and he put all the different tribe leaders. They all grabbed the shawl and then they took the Hajar al-Aswad to the Kaaba. And then Nabi Sallallahu himself, he lifted the Kaaba, the Hajar al-Aswad, and he put it inside the Kaaba. That was the 3rd time that the Hajar al-Aswad was built. And then at that time, obviously, what happened was Nabi Sallallahu or at the time the Mushrikeen of Makkah, what they did, it was an amazing concept, by the way, right? What they thought, they said, we'll only use halal money to build the house of Allah, right? And so when they were building the house of Allah Ta'ala, they built it and they fell short, right? So they built the Kaaba in the cube, right? And they left out the Hatim. Right? And so what he did was they left out the Hatim, and so afterwards, later on, after the Prophet ﷺ, and Nabi Sallallahu he spoke about this in his lifetime, he said that, if it was up to me, and if the people were not recently accepted Islam, then I would have expanded and I would include the Hatim inside the Kaaba. Nabi Sallallahu said it, right? That if the people were not newly in Islam, then I would have changed it. Then after the Prophet Sallallahu Abdullah ibn Zubayr, right? Famous Sahabi radiallahu anhuma, he built the Kaaba again, fourth time. Fourth time is built. In this time, he included the Hatim as part of the Kaaba. Right? So then the entire Kaaba was probably like, more extended. After he was killed, then Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, he didn't like that. He didn't like Abdullah ibn Zubayr. And this is a different story, right? Obviously, long story, right? He didn't like Abdullah ibn Zubayr. So he didn't like that. Abdullah ibn Zubayr, radiallahu anhu, he changed it. And so then he changed it back. Right? After that, the scholars, they came together and they said, listen, it cannot be that at the change of every king or every dynasty, that now they're changing the Kaaba, making part of Hatim, not Hatim, and so on and so forth. So they said, we will leave it as it is, right? So they left it as the Quraysh that had made it, and they kept the Hatim outside of the actual structure of the Kaaba. So this is the story of essentially the 5 times that the Kaaba was built. It's kind of interesting, right? MashaAllah. Anyways, any questions? Okay. ويرمل في الأشواط الثلاثة الأول. Right? It's mentioned that you should do ramal. Some people have a misunderstanding of ramal and ittija'. Some people think ramal is, let me translate for ramal is when you walk a bit with strength, briskly, right? It's known as, right? You walk with a bit, your chest a bit high, you walk, as if you're a bit stronger, right? And the reason for this was to show the might and the strength of the Muslims. And so that's why some people, they have this misunderstanding of ramal and ittija'. Some people, they think that ittija', which is exposing the right arm, this is only first 3 rounds. Whereas ittija' is for the full tawaf. Ittija' is for the full tawaf. And ramal is only for the first 3 rounds. Ramal is, again, which is walking a bit, in a strong manner. Right? That doesn't mean you walk strong and you push right and left. They're not saying that. What he's saying is that you walk a bit strongly to prove the strength of the Muslims. Now, in this day and age, number one, many of us, we are traveling with our families. So if you're walking faster, women don't have to do it. Women are not required to do this. So now, if you're walking faster and your wife is all the way back there, then you've defeated the purpose, right? So therefore, that's one. Another is that, let's say you are you're doing ramal, but then you can't go so fast anyways, right? Because you're pushing the next person and so on. Well, in that case, the scholars say, you know what, it's okay. It's not a big deal. If you doing ramal is going to cause more harm, then leave it. But ideally, you should, walk a bit faster and with a bit more strength in the first 3 rounds. Okay. ويمشي فيما بقي على هينتي. The remaining 4 rounds you walk normally. ويستلم الحجر كلما مر به إن استطاع. And you should do istilam, as I said, istilam of the hajar. Every time you pass by the hajar aswad, you should do istilam, which is raise your hand towards it. Just turn your face. Some people, they turn their whole body. During the tawaf, you should never turn your whole body towards or away from the Kaaba. At any point, you should not turn your body towards or away from the Kaaba. If you do, you have to go back and then continue. Because the entire Kaaba, the entire tawaf, your left arm is supposed to be against or facing in parallel to the Kaaba, right? So you should not be facing towards or away from the Kaaba. Okay. Especially you should not be turning your back from to the Kaaba. So now he's saying that you should do istilam of the hajar every single time that you pass. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, kiss your hand, your palm. And then after the last tawaf, you do istilam again. Istilam again is you raise your hand and you kiss your palm. So all together you'll do 8 istilam. At the beginning of every single tawaf, at the beginning of every single round, and then at the last round as well, at the end.
So when you do the istilam, right, you're not showing your left shoulder. You have to.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need to turn your face. You don't need to turn your body. Just turn your face. Just turn your
Face.
Bismillah. That's it. Keep going. Some people they stop there. Some people are like, yeah, just keep going. That's it. Bismillah Allahu Akbar. Bismillah Allahu Akbar. Done.
I see like people, like when they first go, they just go straight and do the istilam, not doing like this.
On beginning.
That is the
Yeah.
beginning, right?
In the beginning, as I said, istiqbal, right? You'll face the Kaaba and then you'll begin like that, right? But generally, you just keep going. You just keep, just Bismillah Allahu Akbar.
Yeah.
Istilam is sunnah. Istilam is sunnah. Istilam is not wajib, fard, none of that. So it's good to do istilam, but you don't need to stop. You don't need to face the Kaaba and you don't need to do all of that stuff. Okay? And that's basically the entire tawaf. ثم يأتي المقام. Then you'll go to the maqam Ibrahim if you can. فيصلي عنده ركعتين. Right? Then you'll pray 2 rak'ats. أو حيثما تيسر من المسجد. If you cannot find space near the hatim, which is today. Today you will not find space near the hatim. You should not pray near the hatim. There are some people that do it. They go next to the hatim and they start praying there. And it's like, what is wrong with you? There are people trying to go. There are a lot of people that have no common sense when they're there. And it's okay. You have to take a lot of sabr. And like the flow of traffic is, counterclockwise, and they're going to go the other way, right? Inside. So the way you're supposed to, all of us, we have logical and we understand basic common decency. So if you're going this way, once you're done, what should you do? You slowly come out, right? But what they do is, no, my exit is there. So what they'll do is, they'll go this way, then they'll come directly back, straight back. And you'll find people, they go kiss the Hajar Aswad, they kiss the Kaaba, or they touch the Kaaba, then they run and they push, shove, and they go cross. Should you cross? No, don't cross. What you should do, if you are there, you mix with the crowd and you slowly walk out of the crowd. Not that I'm going to go straight. It doesn't matter who's going where. I don't care. Don't do that, right? If people are going this way, don't go this way. Right? Those who drive cars, we understand. Right? I mean, like you don't go this way, right? Like merge with the crowd and then merge outside. To us, it seems like common sense, but you see, like every single day, every second, actually, there are people who are doing that. Okay, so you should pray wherever you have space. Praying, by the way, as this is another point, right? If you're praying salah in the mataf, right? Nowadays it's harder, right? They block off a lot of the parts, and so men and women, they're praying all together. Be very careful. You cannot pray next to women, right? You cannot pray next to women. So don't pray. So because it's so hard in the mataf area especially, or generally in Medina especially, in Makkah especially. So ideally, there should never be a woman on your right, on your left, or in front of you. Make that at least happen. If there are women 10 rows in front, okay, that's a different story. If there are women behind you, that's okay. If there are women a few people down, that's okay. But on your right, on your left, and in front of you, there should be no woman. At the very least, make sure this is. So I used to think that, okay, maybe it's not that serious. But there are times when you go there and you're doing tawaf and it's so packed that there's no place for you to pray. And in that moment, you just make sure on your right, on your left, and in front of you, there's no woman. And just pray like that.
If you stand up and you started, then someone will rise on that.
Move up a little bit if you can, or move behind a little bit. Do something. You should not be exactly next to the woman, right? And if you are praying the same salah behind the imam, your salah breaks. So if you're praying in the Kaaba, according to our scholars, if you're praying and there's a woman next to you, your salah broke. Okay, so it's very important. Just be careful of these things. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes,
Yes.
but woman is your wife.
Same story. Same. Okay. وهذا الطواف طواف القدوم. This is the first tawaf that you'll do. As soon as you get to, and by the way, this is the Hajj al-Ifrad. This is when you're only doing Hajj. You're not doing, generally what most of us do is what? Hajj al-Tamattu', right? As I said before, try to remember these names, right? You have 3 types of Hajj. Hajj al-Ifrad, where you're only doing Hajj. Hajj al-Tamattu', where you're doing Umrah first, then Hajj. And Hajj al-Qiran, where you're doing Tawaf, or you're doing Umrah and Hajj with the same Ihram. Okay, most of us, we do tamattu', where we do Umrah first, we come out of ihram, and then we get back into ihram for Hajj. Most of us, we do this, right? So he's talking about Hajj Ifrad, but you can apply this to all the tawafs or all the Hajj. Well, sunnatun laysa biwajib, right? This tawaf al-qudum is sunnah, and this Hajj Ifrad. So meaning this is assuming you're not doing Umrah, you're just doing tawaf. Okay? وَلَيْسَ عَلَى أَهْلِ مَكَّةَ طَوَافُ الْقُدُومِ. People who live in Makkah, they don't have to do tawaf al-qudum. ثم يخرج إلى الصفا فيصعد عليه ويستقبل البيت ويكبر ويهلل. Then you will go to, so you'll leave the mataf area. As you're leaving, you look at the Kaaba, make your du'as, whatever du'as you need to make. You leave, go drink some Zamzam water. After you drink Zamzam water, then you go to Safa. Once you go to Safa, face the Kaaba, and then same. You do your takbir, you do your La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah, the entire thing. And then you say, you send salawat, durud an Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, ويدعو الله تعالى لحاجتي. And then you make dua to Allah ta'ala. ثم ينحط نحو المروة, then you go towards Marwa. ويمشي على هينتي, you walk normally. فإذا بلغ إلى بطن الوادي, once you go to the green area, سعى بين الميلين الأخضرين سعيا. Then you will run. You will run between the two green posts. And so, حتى يأتي المروة, until you come to Marwa. So this is which most of us we understand, right? We know that we generally you should walk a bit quicker. Now, if you have women with you, you don't need to run. If you have women with you, if you have if you have a group, for example, you don't need to run between meaning in the green area. Okay. And women are not supposed to run. You see many women running also. Women are not supposed to run. And if you are with women also, you should not run as well. Okay, so you're running. Most of you know this, right? So I'm kind of going through quickly. فيصعد على حتى يأتي المروة. You go to Marwa. فيصعد عليها. Then you climb Marwa. ويفعل كما فعل على الصفا. Then once you are on Marwa, you also again you make your takbir, tahleel, durud, and du'a. وهذا شوط. And this is one way. So you have to do 7 one-ways, right? 7 one-ways. Starting from Safa and ending at Marwa. فيطوف 7 أشواط. You'll do 7 one-ways. يبتدئ بالصفا ويختم بالمروة. You will start at Safa and you'll end at Marwa. Okay? And then ثم يقيم بمكة محرما فيطوف بالبيت كلما بدا له. And then you will stay in Makkah in the state of Ihram, and you'll continue to do tawaf whenever you feel like doing it. And we'll stop here, inshallah. Right? But basically, this is essentially, if you're only doing Hajj, this is where you stop. Or this is where pre-Hajj days, what you're supposed to do. Then, inshallah, we're going to talk about the 7th, starting with the 7th, inshallah, next week. We'll start from 7th, and we will continue to discuss regarding Hajj, inshallah. Any questions? جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحان الله وبحمده. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك.